to the Filmcast review of Cocaine Bear. I'm going to read the plot summary for this movie from IMDb. An oddball group of cops, criminals, tourists, and teens converge on a Georgia forest where a huge black bear goes on a murderous rampage after unintentionally ingesting cocaine. End quote. This movie is written by Jimmy Warden and directed by Elizabeth Banks, and it features a great cast and a fairly original premise. Yes, it's based off of a real life story that happened, but in a world that is overloaded with IP driven franchises and superheroes and so on, it's a breath of fresh air to have a movie like this that isn't based on any existing property show up at the box office and do pretty well. That said, Devindra Hardawar, what did you think of Cocaine Bear? Did you think that this was worth the audience's time this past weekend?
I think that was a pretty good trailer. You know, just this hearing that trailer again, that sounds fun. I want to watch that movie. Sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, I come down on this movie really feeling like it is more meme than movie. And it is a strange sensation because I went in really wanting to enjoy this movie. I went for a 10 o'clock screening on a Friday with like a half full theater. Like there were people were amped up to enjoy this movie. And for the entire runtime of this movie, silence, dead silence. At the end, two guys clapped because that's what you do for a movie meme, right? You clap because you experienced it, like Nicole Kidman for the AMC thing. I did not enjoy this movie much, and it's very strange because it has so many things I like. It has actors I like. It's basically an Americans reunion in many ways. It comes from a bunch of creatives I enjoy too. Typically, um, I just didn't find it very funny. Like that's the thing. Like you got all these elements. You got the meme worthy cocaine bear. You've got some good stars. You've got Kerry Russell in a wonderful 80s outfit. But it wasn't funny. Like very little of it made me laugh. Very little of it felt inventive. And it did feel a lot like the trailer of somebody just shouting, "What if a bear did cocaine?" at you several times. Like that is it. You have little kids shouting it. You have gangsters shouting it. Um, it just felt really weird and disjointed, not very funny. I was comparing this, after I saw this, I rewatched Megan with my wife, and that really made me think, like, man, this is a good movie. Like this movie is a B movie. It is very meme worthy, but I think there is a lot more going on. I think it's more fun. I think it's genuinely funny and inventive at times. I just did not really feel that about Cocaine Bear. Also, I was thinking back to like Barb and Star, which is another like very very weird comedy, but I think I had a lot of fun with that just because it made me laugh. It gave me situations I've never seen before. A bear going on a rampage, sure, I guess sounds great on paper. I did not really care for much of this, which is a shame. I enjoy a lot of B movies. There's so many of these things I want to enjoy. I'm still trying to figure out why this movie genuinely bored me at times. Like I was falling asleep, which never happens. Guys, I went to a 10:30 showing of Titanic and I was wide awake for that entire time. Um, so it is just very, very strange. Like I feel like something is off with this movie. Like maybe I wish it was a little funnier. I wish there was a little more of a spark of inspiration or something other than the concept of what if a bear did cocaine.
I think
You
the
know what would
last
have kept you awake, Devindra?
Yeah, I need some. No, the kids don't do drugs.
Caffeine. Caffeine is what I was going to say.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
I
sure,
think the
sure.
last time a kind of um a movie was made and released just off seemingly the strength of an internet meme
Mhm.
was probably 2006's Snakes on a Plane.
It's very Snakes on the Plane. Yeah.
Very very similar to Snakes on a Plane. It's like isn't it a funny concept, Snakes on a Plane? Now that movie, I think made around 18 million or 13
Absolute
million on its
failure.
opening weekend,
Yeah.
and was considered a failure at the time.
Yeah.
Cocaine Bear made $23 million, which is not that much more.
It's
and
very well
considering-
reviewed. The
considering
audience
inflation,
scores are very high. I feel like I'm in crazy town because of how little I enjoyed this movie. So that's just me. If you enjoyed it, I'm glad.
Well,
I'm very glad. Yeah.
the cinema score is B minus, which
Okay.
is okay if it's a horror movie, not great if it's a comedy.
Mhm.
And I do think it has a little bit of both elements in there. Jeff Canada, curious what you thought about Cocaine Bear.
Well, Dave, I love it when you step all over my limerick. Let's.
I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
It was just seconds away. I should have just gone to you first and
Yeah,
then
it's all
made my
right.
comments too.
It's all
Seconds
right.
away. Seconds away.
What I thought about Cocaine Bear is best summed up in the form of a limerick. Similar to Snakes on a Plane,
Very original, Jeff.
To know if you'll be entertained, the only thing vital is to read the title. Will you laugh at a bear on cocaine? And if the
Nicely
answer is
done.
yes, I think you'll have a good time with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The answer for me was yes, and I mostly had a good time, but I definitely sympathize with what Devindra is saying because I don't think this movie goes hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I don't know, 3 or 4 truly great moments in the movie.
Yeah.
That I was having a blast with. Because what you want out of a movie called Cocaine Bear that's rated R is some great grisly kills, some funny, funny over the top kills. And there are some.
Yeah.
There's about 3 or 4 that are just chef's kiss fun.
Agreed.
And in those moments, I was like, yes! But they are too few and far between, in my opinion. And I found most of the characters in this movie to be pretty grating and uninteresting. And that's a shame because as you have both said, there's some really fun actors that are playing these characters. And the movie kind of weirdly tries for like some emotional beats, especially toward the middle and end. And I think fails completely at that. There's no... Like, don't even do that. Why are you even attempting that movie? Just give us the goofy fun. We came to a movie called Cocaine Bear. Like, go 110% in that direction. And I feel like the movie sort of does fits and starts in that direction. And when it goes there and it has fun, we're having a blast. I'm having a blast. But too often, it kind of doesn't go there or it meanders into this other thing that I don't care about. And I think it thinks its characters are delightful and quirky and weird, and they're as fun as the bear. They're not, in my opinion. They're not as fun as the bear. Like, we want to see the bear maul people.
Yeah.
I don't care about
during every minute. I'm thinking, where is the cocaine bear? When is it going to show up again? Yeah.
I don't care about the dude with the goofy accent who's hiking. Like, I don't. It's not funny and fun. It doesn't land well for me. It's not. And there's a lot of people doing what they think are very funny things. What's his name from Modern Family is like, what are you even doing, man? There's a lot of stuff in this movie that's like, we think this is hilarious, clearly, as the filmmakers, and I don't think it is. But when the movie goes there with the bear, I'm having a great time. So I had enough fun to say, yeah, if you hear the title Cocaine Bear and you think that sounds like a fun time, you'll probably have enough fun with this to justify going to see it. But it's not a home run, and it could have been a home run, I think.
Yep.
That's all fair. I think I probably liked it about as much as Jeff, maybe slightly more. I think I just really appreciated seeing something original on the big screen.
How many times can we say this? We say this every time there's an original movie. I'm like, okay, yes, it is great. It is great that this is not a comic book movie. This is not an IP. That's not enough. You gotta keep me awake. Your one mission is to entertain me.
Yeah,
I went to take the bathroom halfway through this movie, and I just did like a sigh of relief to be out of that.
Wow.
To be in another space. Like,
wow.
Oh, I can.
Okay,
I'm gonna go use the bathroom here.
Feel
back
that.
into Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I had fun as well. I mean, I think there are Jeff. There are a handful of characters. I agree with Jeff. What Jeff said about like when this movie goes hard,
Sure.
that's when it is at its best. I think there's a handful of like great characters. Honestly, it's great to see Alden Ehrenreich in a movie.
You guys will enjoy
okay.
really seeing him in the Netflix movie that he's coming to because that
Oh
was crazy.
yeah. Which movie is that called, Devindra? Do you
The
remember?
one, it's like an erotic thriller about traders. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, did you care at all about his journey, his emotional journey in the movie?
He has
No,
a dead wife or a dead girlfriend, basically. That's
Fair Play is the name of the movie.
Yes.
And no, I didn't really care that much about his, but it's just like, hey, this is the guy.
So much time on it.
That's the guy who played Han Solo, and now he's still getting work.
Look at him now.
Your
Look at him
bar
now.
is so low on this movie.
Brooklyn Prince, she's the Florida Project girl, I think,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
she's in this movie. Carrie Russell, Felicity, and also she had a few seconds in Rise of the Skywalker. Beloved character actor
Were you
Margaret
just
Martindale.
pointing at the screen for every scene?
Dave's,
Like, hey.
Dave's enjoying this like a Family Guy clip. Hey, I remember that.
Yes, that's all true. And I will also say, I kind of like, to the extent that this movie has any lesson or message. It's don't fuck with nature. Do you know? It's that when the
Sure.
work of mankind collides with nature, nature is an unfeeling, cruel beast,
Mhm.
and one is best served by getting out of the way. And I think that's a message we all always need to hear. You know?
Sure. You know, there's so many movies that do this kind of thing. I'm thinking of like the beginning of The Host, right? Bong Joon-ho's The Host, which basically starts with American scientists going like, let's just dump all this radioactive waste in the river. What could
Yes.
happen? You know,
Yes.
the
Yes.
thing about this movie is it just starts with, well, the bear has cocaine now, and the bear is crazy. And that's the joke. It is the Simpsons thing. That's the joke. And I just feel like it was just saying that's the joke over and over again. Yeah.
I mean, it is a very misanthropic, nihilistic movie, right? Like, I don't think there's like, hey, if we all band together and keep cocaine out of the forest, everything's gonna be fine. It's just
no, this
more
is
like
a movie where kids do cocaine. So
Yeah, no, it's not.
no.
Yeah,
It
it's like
it doesn't
it's
take
like,
a position on cocaine at all.
to
Honestly.
quote, yeah, exactly. To quote Samuel L. Jackson, who started Snakes on a Plane, yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. Basically, is kind of
Yeah.
what this movie's
That
perspective
movie
is
had
on all the
lines
characters.
at least, you know.
Yeah, so to speak. But yeah, I had fun with the movie. I do think that it peaks at around the 2/3 mark,
Yes,
and then
agreed.
kind of like
Oh, the last act is
the last act is not.
What is even like
great.
what?
Yeah. The last act is
all
full
the
of like
Carrie, all
yeah,
the Carrie
but-
Russell stuff is just like
some really baffling decisions. But it does have some really great highs, so to speak.
it
And
does.
and I do think that for that reason, if you, I unlike Devindra, I think if you read the title of Cocaine Bear and you get a little titter, and
I
you
wanted to have a little titter. That's just
you watch the trailer and you're like, that sounds like fun. I think you'll watch the movie and have an enjoyable time. So anyway,
Yeah, that's
Let's
what I
get to
said in my
some-
limerick that you stepped on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding.
let's get to spoilers for Cocaine Bear starting right now. All right, couple things worth discussing. First of all, the 2/3 mark, right, is the scene when the paramedics show up and then like everyone
Yeah.
gets completely
Margot
annihilated.
Martindale
Great.
face down on the pavement.
Yeah,
Best part of the movie.
That's
incredible
part of the movie.
sequence. It's an incredible because it feels so out of control. Like it feels
Yeah.
like everything's just spinning out of control in a way that like, and that like what happens next is not like. There's no take backsies on like what happens next.
It did feel like up until that point, this movie was wasting Margot Martindale and also bringing Margot Martindale and Kerry Russell back together after The Americans. I don't know if you guys like watched up till that point. Yeah, I mean, this was a straight up Americans reunion, so those were fun things to see at least. Yeah,
Wasn't the dude on Americans in there right too? Right?
yeah, the beginning opening.
Yeah.
What's her husband?
Oh, yeah,
Kerry
that's
Russell's
right,
husband,
yeah.
Yeah, he was. That
the
was an amazing
parachuter.
scene too.
Matthew
I thought.
Rice. Yeah, Matthew Rice.
Yeah, Matthew
The
Rice,
parachuter, yeah.
who was like throwing stuff off and like dancing and throwing stuff. I thought that was incredible. The movie opens really promisingly. I thought.
Isn't
I
it
mean-
accurate to say that to the extent this movie is based on true events, is that cocaine was lost in a forest?
Cocaine was lost in the forest.
That's the
I guess
extent
right
to
next
which
to
the
me
movie-
because I live right next to Chattahoochee National Forest. Like the Chattahoochee River is like less than a mile from me, so it's in my backyard basically. Yeah,
Literally everything else is made up. But the fact that some cocaine was lost over the forest, that's the jumping off point.
I think the Ray Liotta character is real, or
Well,
no,
the bear the bear did ingest cocaine, but he died.
he died.
He died.
We don't know what happened until
It
then.
was a 175-pound black bear who died of an overdose of cocaine after discovering a batch of the drug. Which, if you think about it, guys, this bear is really horrible this movie is really horrible anti-bear propaganda, right?
It is.
Can you imagine, like, this bear, your relatives with this bear that died after ingesting cocaine, and they're like, what if the bear went on a killing rampage? It's like, not cool. Not cool movie.
Not cool.
Not cool. Not cool.
But yeah, I thought the stuff. It's, by the way, this is like, I think Ray Liotta's probably last theatrical performance we're ever going to see
Good
him in.
God.
And I thought he was pretty good. He was pretty like unhinged and out there.
Ray Liotta?
Yes.
Unhinged and out there?
So that was all great as well. The final third of this movie, which takes place almost entirely in darkness, I did not think was great.
Explain to me one thing.
Yeah.
How does the girl get out there?
And
What-
you're
what-
asking
they keep-
questions this movie doesn't care about. Yeah.
Fundamentally, like the entire plot hinges on the fact that Carrie Russell is looking for her daughter, who is far out in the forest. Are we to believe that the bear picked her up and carried her that distance? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
I think she was leaving a
think she was,
trail
like-
of things. Yeah.
Well, why was she continuing to move?
I don't know, man.
The way I thought, the way I saw it in my head was like she was moving of her own volition, and the bear kind of like
Well, then
pushed
why
her in
was
that direction.
it makes no sense because A, the bear's not there. We know
Yeah.
where the bear is.
Mhm.
It's not with her because we keep seeing moments with the bear that aren't with her.
Yeah.
But it explicitly says the little kid, the obnoxious little kid, says the monster got her,
Yeah.
and it is she's gone so far. It makes zero sense.
You know,
Zero sense.
Jeff, you often talk about rules in
Yeah.
genre movies. I feel like this movie needed just something. Like what you can't just be like a bear did go cocaine and now crazy shit is going to happen, right? Like it motivation for the bear. Who is the bear? Who is the cocaine bear? Because the opening scene is the already high bear mauling some hikers, basically very unsympathetic. The entire last act is bear's a mommy. We gotta protect the mommy and protect the cubs. And I'm like, we just spent the whole movie being terrified of the bear, tearing people apart limb from limb. The bear can climb trees and everything, and it's a very weird twist, and it just feels like there's humor there. Like there are jokes they could have been making about this whole situation or about our relationship to wildlife that just kind of left on the floor for us to spend time moping with Alden Ehrenreich.
The way the ending plays is so weird. It's so weird. First of all, we get this weird time jump where everybody is in this cave. They've all found the bear cave where the cocaine is. And then the cubs are doing the cocaine, which adorable. The audience is supposed to think cubs doing cocaine, adorable. And then we get out there. And so now the cubs are our emotional connection point, right? Because Ray Liotta's kicking some cubs. Not cool, Ray Liotta.
Yeah,
That's how we know he's truly evil. We love those cubs. We want those cubs. We want mom to come and maul Ray Liotta. We get that satisfaction of seeing him dismembered. But before that, what happens is Ray Liotta bests Mommy Bear, and the only thing that is powerful enough to bring her back to life is the glorious power of cocaine. So cocaine plays like the magical pixie dust at the end that brings the hero of the story, Cocaine Bear, back to life. It is a weird, weird ending.
Why is that weird, Jeff?
Well, because the whole, like Devindra just said, the whole movie is. It's like if at the end of Jaws.
Here's a question.
Listen, let me finish this. If at the end of Jaws, we found out that Jaws had baby Jawses,
which we found out in the sequel, right?
I guess we did.
There's
but
families.
The idea is that we feel for Jaws as a creature, and the thing that has made Jaws want to murder people is the thing that saves the baby Jawses and makes Jaws murder the bad people. It is
sure. Now we're cheering for Jaws,
right?
Yeah.
Isn't that? You don't think that's bizarre, Dave?
The other movie.
The question, right, is who is the hero of this movie?
There isn't one.
Because Cocaine Bear.
I'm rooting for the Cocaine Bear
from the start.
Even though it's just killing innocent people for no reason.
From the start of the movie, you're rooting for Cocaine Bear?
It is killing people because people have messed with its environment.
They're just hiking. The hikers, they're not leaving trash. They're not desecrating nature.
Not the hikers specifically. I'm talking about mankind, the royal mankind in general.
Yeah.
By dropping packets
I think
of cocaine.
you dropped this pail you're carrying for this movie, Dave.
Wait. So from the start of this movie, you were rooting for Cocaine Bear.
I don't know.
Those German tourists seem very nice.
I don't know from the start, but I think you are meant to sympathize with Cocaine Bear. Yes.
No, what?
Or if not sympathize, then at least respect the power of
those
Cocaine
German
Bear.
tourists were having a lovely romantic date, going for a stroll. They've been traveling the world, seeing nature. They just have love and respect for nature. And what happens? What is their reward for loving nature? Cocaine Bear.
Well, first of all,
I mean,
I think the movie explicitly codes them as very annoying people. So
and also,
because-
Wow.
it does have that moment with the butterfly for the cocaine bear at the beginning. So I kind of see your point.
Yeah.
I genuinely think the hero of the movie
yeah.
is cocaine.
Yeah.
Cocaine is played as a very positive substance throughout the entire movie.
Well, this is the thing: is I think that it is. All right. First of all, I'm going to grant this. It does feel like there was a bunch of stuff cut out of the movie that feels really weird by the end.
Sure,
and
sure,
in particular, there's a moment at the end, like I actually liked O'Shea Jackson Jr. and his whole performance in this movie. Like the part where he beats up the three guys in the bathroom, I thought was awesome. But there's a moment at the end of the movie, and like the standoff that he has with the detective, I actually enjoyed that for the most part. There's a moment at the end of the movie where like Ray Liotta's gonna kill that cop, that dirty cop, and then he kind of like steps in the way of like
Yeah.
Ray Liotta, and it's like, where did
I
this
guess they're
come from?
friends
Like,
now.
what is
what
is
happened
the-
to that cop? Yeah.
what is the whole arc here with like? It feels like that's supposed to be like the defining moment of that character and or his relationship with that cop that we never even have any access to.
I guess
Yeah.
that
So-
cop's dirty. We assume at the end, basically.
Right.
Like
I get, like what is
Sure.
it just feels like there's a whole subplot that was left out of the movie, right?
There's also the weirdest thing happens at the end where they do like a flashback to
Oh my,
finding
that
a-
was the weirdest epic thing I've ever seen in my life.
weird, right?
It
Because
was
it's
like-
clearly it feels like they shot it like it was going to be in sequence,
was
like
the
getting us
most-
to the cave.
Okay.
And it was literally like, well, we're cutting all of this out, but man, that's a really important point. So we'll just flash back to it real briefly.
I was so freaking weird. I like
Right?
the whole time. My mind started like spinning. I was like, why did they do it like? Because I was like, they must have figured out that like it wouldn't make sense for them to show it in like they for some reason they didn't want to show it in sequence because here's my theory. Here's my theory. Okay, is they realize, hey, we have all this great stuff, but we got to cut it down to get this down to like whatever 100 minutes or however long it is, right? So they cut out a bunch of scenes. They're like boom, 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 cut, and they're like, oh shit, but we need to like indicate that this this crucial thing happened because it doesn't match with the dialogue we have for the final episode. We'll just put it in flashback. Won't people be really weirded out that we didn't just show it? Yeah, but whatever. We gotta, the
whatever,
movie
man.
comes out in
So-
3 weeks.
Whatever,
It's
man. It's
such a-
cocaine bear.
So-
It's so weird. It's so weird.
So
Yeah.
just to clarify exactly for those who are listening who don't know what happened, basically towards the end, they describe something that characters describe something that happened earlier in the timeline of the movie, but they did not show you that during that earlier in the movie.
It's part of the timeline that we literally time jumped over.
Yeah,
We
so then
time jumped over this thing that happens, and then they're like, well, it's really important that you need to know it. So we're
so
going to
then
do a flashback.
they show it as a flashback, which is just like the most weird thing. So that I think that does kind of confirm my theory that like there was probably some arc with like O'Shea Jackson Jr. and that woman that like is never shown
For
in the
sure,
movie. Okay,
for sure.
so anyway, my point is, I think I'm not saying that the movie has no problems. The movie has like a bunch of issues. I think that actually the final act doesn't look very good. It's all in darkness. When
It's
like
awful.
the cocaine
Yeah.
bear looks the best in daylight.
I think
like
overall the cocaine bear
Yeah.
effect is very well done.
very
throughout the
convincing.
entire movie.
Yeah,
Not bad.
Agreed.
Cocaine bear climbing a tree looks really good. Like
Yeah.
I like a lot of those things.
Yeah.
You-
But anyway, I think my point is, it does seem to me that the movie is kind of an explicit reaction to the overly prudent approach that we had against drugs in the 80s and 90s, right? Like
100%. Yes.
just say no. Like it's all that
Yes.
footage is shown at the beginning, and it's basically
Yes.
like, wow, like the war on drugs is terrible. This attitude we have in society against drugs is terrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like we're gonna have a movie, as you said, Jeff, kind of showing how awesome
Yeah.
and powerful cocaine can be.
I guess
You know, that's
nothing's wrong with cocaine. We can show kids having cocaine. It's
Yeah.
safe. It's for the children.
Yeah, I mean,
what-
now whether you agree with that as a message or not, which I think like, it's very reasonable to say cocaine is terrible and you should use it.
Maybe
Um,
not. Yeah.
It's like hey, I'm glad that we have this dialectic in society of a bunch of people in the government saying cocaine is terrible, and
Sure.
then this movie saying, hey, what if cocaine could be kind of cool sometimes? It's
It
like, hey,
just took us 25 years. or, 30
sometimes
years.
the two sides can work together to produce something fun. Okay.
So
I-
the
Thank
thing
you. I rest my case.
I want to say, watching this movie, it also reminded me of a movie I really enjoy that I watched way too often, and that is the Tamara Davis film. Wait, sorry,
Marijuana
Half
Chipmunk.
Baked.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Half
yeah,
Baked,
Marijuana
yes.
Chipmunk. Half Baked. Talk about marijuana chipmunks. Now,
Mhm.
Half Baked is a movie where weed is basically a superpower, is like so
Mm.
essential to everything happening in the movie. And I think the difference there too is that Dave Chappelle may have been known to partake in a toke or two.
Shocking.
He has an understanding of it, and they kind of like that movie just has like sweet characters. Like that's it. It's just
Yeah.
it's vibes. It's people hanging out. Oh, they have a simple, clear mission they're trying to accomplish. Oh, there's a relationship he's working towards. It's all very clear. They don't have like 5 different storylines that are trying to converge on one thing, and it's just like an understanding of like, okay, what can you do with that concept? It is that movie is the Jon Stewart scene, of have you ever seen have you ever seen a squirrel on marijuana
weed,
on weed?
on weed,
That is
yeah.
basically this entire movie, and I just felt like you could have done more. Maybe
I
bring
think
in
you're
some
right.
of those.
You're right that like Half Baked
Yeah.
does do a good job of capturing like the culture
Yeah.
of like the people who use that drug.
It's a better
but
movie. Yeah.
Arguably, Cocaine Bear captures the culture of people who are into cocaine. you know?
I know because Elizabeth Banks has talked about she's never done it. She has no clue about this culture. So how about this? And
Wow, you're really
hey,
gatekeeping the Cocaine
really
Bear
gatekeeping the
directing
culture.
movie. Devindra.
Listen, in the 80s,
Only
in the 80s,
cocaine users can tell their
Only
own
cocaine
stories,
users can do it.
Dave.
But listen, this is Hollywood in the 80s. Guess what was powering all of those movies? All
Yeah.
of Scorsese's movies. Like, get that person on tap to be like, hey, how does this? Does this feel right?
No, you're right.
Is this, like, in
Scorsese
the
should have
culture?
directed this.
Scorsese should have directed this. Yeah.
I love Elizabeth Banks, and
I love her. I'm
rooting
glad
for her.
she can make a movie like this.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of really fun moments in this movie, and I want to enumerate those. I don't want to just drag on this movie, but I do think this movie would actually be way better if the entire Carrie Russell's daughter, little kids, is just excised completely, whole cloth from the movie. Just make it about awful people trying to get their cocaine back, and the bear mauling them.
They also wanted it to be an Amblin movie. Like, that's the thing. It's just part Amblin movie, part like so many different things.
None of the heart stuff, the kids and the heart and the mom and the love, none of that landed for me at all. And it just drags the movie down. It slows it way down. It ruins the third act. The fun is these despicable people, and you can have some fart. You can have some heart. You can also have some fart if you want. You can have some heart with what's his name? The Ray Liotta's son's character, right? He is the sort of, reluctant participant here. You could get that kind of audience surrogate or like sympathetic moral character out of that. You don't need to inject like these kids and this mom, and like none of that worked for me at all. And I think it really is to the detriment of the entire movie. Like, the fun we're having is watching terrible people get mauled by a cocaine bear. And Margot Martindale's stuff is so fun, and all of that crazy, all the like thug kids, they're fun. Like, all of that's fun. But having like this wholesome element, like, and why?
One thing I want to point out, we keep saying it's about the bear mauling terrible people. No, the bear mauls everybody, buddy. Like the bear
that's
is
what
an amoral.
That's what Jeff's saying. I think is like you throw in all these like nice people in there, and it's like I think Jeff is saying the pleasure of the movie is watching terrible people get completely annihilated. Right?
Sure.
Yes.
Like that's when but the thing is, many of the people that get annihilated are nice people. Like the paramedics. Margot Martindale less so. She's pretty mean during the course of the movie.
Yeah,
she's fine. She's just she's a lady who wants this guy to
she does shoot a kid in the head.
Yeah,
that was pretty great.
She was pissed off because those damn teenagers.
That was bad.
Damn teenagers.
that was a critical misstep for her. Jeff,
Yeah,
were there
really,
any?
She seems very unconcerned after
You guys
that
just
moment.
really these German tourists. You guys are just throwing under the bus here.
I did.
Yeah.
I want to shout out another scene that I thought was great, and I think the entire sequence at the gazebo is beautifully conceived. Right, having a person on top of the gazebo with the thing you want. The people down below. He's got a gun. You can't get any close. You're hiding underneath the gazebo. Like, all of that situational and sort of spatial dynamic it was so fun, and it's so cool, and it makes for a fun scene. They can talk to each other, but you step out, you're going to get shot. He literally does lose fingers. Like and that line, best line in the entire movie is, how did he lose those two fingers? They aren't even next to each other.
Yeah.
That was my favorite line of the entire movie.
That's very good.
But that whole sequence, and then the bear like falling on him and him being underneath the bear, that entire sequence I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just dog on this movie because there's lots of fun stuff in it.
Yeah. I think for me, at the end of the day, the movie is almost a metaphor, or like the plot of the movie is almost a metaphor for the movie in and of itself. In the sense that, like, here is a movie that just DGAF about anything in the same way that the bear does not, because it's high on cocaine. It's just going to get into the U.S. box office and just destroy movies left and right. 80 for Brady, you're fucked. Knock on the cabin.
My issue
More
with the
like
movie
get
is that
knocked
it
down
does,
by this bear. Okay,
it does GAF. It does. That's the problem. Like, I wish it didn't give a fuck more. I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted it. The problem is the end is like, oh, the mom has to jump off into the waterfall to save her kids. It's like,
yeah, but it's also a movie called Cocaine Bear, which is like. That inherently limits how much you can market this movie. In fact, this YouTube video will probably be demonetized because we're talking about a movie called Cocaine Bear. So I think that there is something like bold about being like, hey, it's not based on anything. It has cocaine in the title. It's a really willful misrepresentation of how dangerous bears actually are on cocaine. We're gonna make it anyway.
The good news is, if we're gonna be demonetized, we got nothing left to lose. What do you guys want to talk about? We got nothing left to lose, Dave. You can say anything right now.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know if you had anything specific in mind, but
you should go look down the list of things that can get you demonetized.
Yeah.
See what you want to talk about.
We talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jeff, when you think of something, you let me know.
Yeah.
Anyway, any other thoughts on Cocaine Bear before we wrap up for today?
No.
I had fun with it. I agree with a lot of the problems you guys had with it. But for me, it's also like, hey, it's cool that there was a movie called Cocaine Bear, had some good laughs, had some good scenes. That's kind of what I was looking for. But I also understand your disappointment with it. It could have been a masterpiece. I don't think it was.
I'm not asking for a masterpiece. I watch a lot of B movies. I just, I wanted it to be funnier. Like, take that dial, that funny dial.
Yeah.
Click. Funny.
It is.
I don't know if it quite works like that, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's how it works.
It is ironic that I don't think anyone actually snorts cocaine in the entire movie. It's all eaten. Which is sort of just like, fundamentally just putting wrong information out there, for the kids.
Indeed. Well, at the end of the day, it's really impressive that Elizabeth Banks made a movie called Cocaine Bear. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.